here, and we're going to do this problem together. So let's just move this guy aside, pull that up, and this problem says a sample of gas has a volume of 2.7 liters, a pressure of 0.955 atmospheres, and a temperature of 288. What will the volume be at 1 atmosphere? So remember what I've asked you to do? I've asked you to write down like your V1. I've asked you to write down your P1. And I've asked you to write down your T1. What do you have to make sure your temperatures are, Kiara? Yeah, but you have to make sure they're Kelvin, and if they're not, then you're going to add in your 273. The question then says, what will the volume be? That's the second mentioning of volume, so that's question mark. At a second pressure mention, that's 1 atm. And a second temperature mention, which I'm just going to have to write maybe up here, of 273 K, which are STP conditions if I have 1 atmosphere and 273 K. All right, next thing I've asked you to do are to mark out your units that are similar, yes? Okay, no sleeping, no heads down, no sleeping. Now you write down the equation of P1 V1 T2 equals P2 V2 T1, and we go and we plug in our numbers and we solve for our second volume, which is V2. So we're plugging in our 955 with the decimal on the front of him. We're plugging in our 2.7, and we're plugging in our T2, which is 273. And then we're setting that equal to our P2 of 1, and our V2, which is unknown, and our T1, which is 288. That's what the setup will look like. That's what my setup will look like. Now let me just ask you, where are we finding little hiccups in these problems? Particularly one that's got all 6 variables. Where are we finding the hiccups? What are the hiccups? Okay, maybe not converting it into Kelvin. What else? Maybe dividing it wrong. Say things at the very end. Like which formula to use? Okay. How do I know which formula to use? There are 4 formulas, and one of them is really not a gas law. It's just Avogadro's law. So, Hunter, how do I know which formula to use? Because I've got 2 pressures mentioned, 2 temperatures mentioned, and 2 volumes mentioned. That's how I know. That's how I know. So I've got to practice enough, and if we would just do our homework, then we might have enough practice to know which gas law we're talking about, right? Right? And I'm talking to a plethora of us in this room. I'm not talking to just one person. All right, so I'm going to divide both sides by 1, which is easy because it doesn't change. And that, so that I isolate my V. Agreed? Okay? So I'm going to take 0.955 times 0.27 times 273 divided by 288. And divided by 1, if I want to divide it by 1 as well. And Kiara, what did you get for an answer? 2.4L. Now that's a rounded one with 2 sig figs. 2.4L equals my V2. 2.4. Was I supposed to round it? You were. You were. 2 sig figs. I go with the least number of sig figs. All right, next question. A sample of hydrogen gas is produced in the lab. How many moles of the hydrogen were produced if the gas has this volume, this pressure, that temperature? All right, Hunter, talk to me. How do I know which law this one is? Number 2. Oops. How do I know? Goodness. Okay, 1, it talks about moles, and what else? Big fat clue, it's given R. Therefore, I know that this one's going to be PV equals nRT. I have to memorize those 2 gas laws, yes? I have to memorize them. All right. So, pressure is 95.8, but that's not the first thing mentioned. The first thing mentioned is how many moles. So, N is equal to question mark. Then we have a V of 0.1245 L's. We have a P. Okay, 98.5 kPAs, and then we have a T of yours either says 22 Celsius or it says 295. I'm not sure what happened, why one of them got changed and one of them didn't. I'm not sure. All right, what I do here is I cancel out the units in my R. So the kPAs go away. The K's go away. The L's go away. What do I circle? Oh, and I forgot. Oh, somebody didn't tell me what it. Oh, you forgot to tell me to circle my L up there, right? Now I take these numbers and I plug them into Covenant. So I plug in 98.5. I plug in my V of 0.1245. I plug in my N, which is unknown, my R, which is 8.31, and my T, which is 295. How do I, Jamal, isolate N? What do I do? Okay, so okay. And so I saw on your paper you'd done the multiplication. What did you get for that number? You got 12 point what? Okay, and then you divided that by this number multiplied together, which was what? 1, 2, 4, 5 something? 245? 1.40? Okay. That's how he went to solve his problem. He said this times this is 12.26325, and this times this is 245.1.45. So when he divided both sides by this multiplication to isolate his N, what did you come out with N? A big T, tiny, small number. Big because lots of zeros. Yeah. 5 zeros. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what? 204. And the unit is moles. That's a little too tiny number, yes? That's why you could put it in scientific notation if you would like. Scientific notation says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2.04 times 10 to the negative 6 moles is also the same answer, yes? Okay, is everybody with me? Jonathan, you with me? Jaquan, you with me? No. You're right, I'm not, but we're going to do this real quick. We're going to tell it to stop because last class I went 22 minutes.